Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest is Brad Hreha. Brad, welcome to the neighborhood, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome to have you here. Brad is somebody that we met through mutual friends for a while. We've been doing some stuff back and forth for a little bit, and I love doing interviews with people that I don't know their story, because that's what we get to talk about when we're on here. So I know you as Brad, the multifamily guy and the investment guy. Let's talk a little bit about before this version of Brad. What was your journey like? You know, Brad coming out of college. I know you're a sporty baseball player kind of thing. Talk a little bit about your journey of the pre-multifamily Brad and how you got here.
Okay, so you went to college for baseball, had a Division I scholarship.
Nice.
After getting out of college, I had my first daughter. She's 18 now.
Okay.
I did all kinds of stuff. I did landscaping. I did construction. Repossessed cars for 3 years.
Okay.
That's the most fun I ever had working for someone, by the way. I could talk for days for the stories.
I had a buddy that did that too. He would call me like, "Yo, you're not gonna believe this. You're crazy."
Yeah, that was a crazy time. But I always knew I wanted to start a business.
Okay.
And when the repo thing was kind of getting slow, and I wanted to do something else, didn't have a whole lot of money. So most people don't know this. I started a window tinting business in 2011, and I had never tinted a car before. I literally bought film and some tools, and my dad gave me $1,500 for the the money for the lease.
Right.
And I started tinting, and I knew I was the type of person that if I put my back against the wall, I'd figure it out. I mean, it was painful the first couple of months trying to figure it out on my own, but I got going. I got some help along the way for some people. I actually went out to York, Pennsylvania, at a guy I met at a window tinting event, and he showed me the tricks of the trade one day, and like my business started taking off just from some little stuff. So appreciate that. But ultimately, I got to the point in my window tinting business where I was working 60, 70 hours a week. It wasn't uncommon for me to be at my shop at 9 o'clock on a Saturday. I slept all day long on Sunday because I was exhausted, and I had 2 little girls, and I felt like I was missing their entire life at that point. Yeah. So I started looking for answers. I didn't know where to look, so I just started reading books. Started reading books that led me to podcasts, which ultimately led me to finding my first real estate coach. I hired him for wholesaling. I did pretty well my first year of wholesaling. I did about $70,000 on 4 deals. But ultimately, I saw the issues within that business that I didn't like, and it really wasn't something I wanted to continue. It was more kind of a stepping stone.
Right.
So walked away from real estate for a year after that, kind of just getting my bearings, trying to figure things out again. And somebody posted a book on Facebook called The Best Ever Apartment Syndication Book by Joe Fairless. Ordered it off Amazon. I read the thing, and it was just like, I mean, if I was a cartoon, that light bulb would have been above my head, right?
Nice.
I realized I didn't have to save all this money up to go buy multifamily properties. I could just use other people's money and partner with them on these deals, because, not when I was young, but younger, I'd used to sit there and look at an apartment building and go, how do you get so rich you buy that thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I read the book, it was like, just, again, that light bulb moment, and went out, found a mentor, taught me how to, do the business. And I had this group that we were part of, and I was the only one that was just like everything he said to do, I did. Mm-hmm. And I just kept bringing deal after deal after deal to the group. And then finally, we were able to buy one. So my first one was a 2016 build, Class A, 70-unit multifamily building in Wichita, Kansas.
I knew it was somewhere like Oklahoma or Kansas.
Yep, out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
I never thought I'd ever step foot in Kansas.
Have you ever been there? Did you go?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I'll give you a quick story about that. We live in New Jersey. We don't see too many tornadoes, but I am deathly afraid of tornadoes and sharks.
As most people would be, yeah,
right?
For sure.
So,
right.
I go out to Kansas, and we're out there, and to me, it's Tornado Alley. Like F5 tornadoes are here every single day, and I started asking the brokers in the property management company. I'm like, where do you guys go during tornadoes? And they're looking around like, what's this guy talking about? I'm like, well, you guys don't have basements out here. I'm staying in a hotel, and they're starting to chuckle, right? And So I'm like, listen, I don't want to be, I want to know where I need to go in case of a tornado. And the guy's like, I'm 37 years old. I've lived here my whole life. I've never seen one. He's like, if they do, they hit Andover, which is like an hour, east of Wichita. So I'm like, okay, we're cool. But yeah, it's just funny. I had another buddy of mine that I was telling this story to. He lives in Oklahoma City. And he's like, when you see those people cutting their lawn and the tornadoes going by in the back, he's like, that's real. Like, we don't care. Like, they could be going down the street. We know we're fine. So it's just funny. But, from that deal, after we won that deal, we actually were able to buy another 88 unit property right down the street from it. So I own 158 units out in Wichita, Kansas.
Nice. And now you were like, was you doing like phone banging? Were you doing internet queries? How were you getting in front of people that might be an opportunity? Like, what was that grind?
Like in terms of buying properties?
Yeah. And when you first started out, like, how were you getting yourself in front of them? Were you buying leads? Were you searching in Facebook groups? How were you getting in front of people that might be a client?
A client, or what do you mean, like an investor or a broker selling a property?
A broker selling a property.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So, I actually found both of my deals listed online.
Okay.
Crexy.com and LoopNet.com. Most people refer to LoopNet as where deals go to die. That's not true. There's just a lot more eyeballs on them. You got to do a little bit more work to find the opportunity. But I found, actually, the first deal I was ever awarded was off of LoopNet. It was in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was a mixed-use Class A building. It was 57 residential units and 9 commercial.
Okay.
My partner actually brought somebody in to help raise the money for the deal, and he was supposed to raise all the money. That was his part. And turns out he couldn't raise any money. We ended up losing the deal. So that was my first experience. Getting kicked in the teeth on the first deal. But no, I found them on LoopNet or Crexy. I think we were listed on both. Just called the broker, underwrote the deals, stayed in contact, and then, we were, just through the experience the brokers had with me, with how professional I was, they were willing to take a risk on us. Because in multifamily, it's a big relationship business. If they dealt with someone before, they want to continue to deal with them because they know how they, work out through the transaction, and they know how they're going to raise the money, and they know that ultimately they're going to close, and there's not going to be any problems for the broker. That's what they want to do. So ultimately, they took a chance on me because of how I, presented myself throughout the process, and we were able to buy the deal. And then because of that, they brought us another deal, and we actually had another partnership on the first deal. And when I called the broker to let them know that we were interested, they flat out asked me, "Hey, is the other person that you're involved with on this deal going to be involved in this deal?" I said, "No, we're looking to just buy this as our group, our entity." And they said, "Good, because we don't ever want to deal with him again."
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he actually offered $500,000 more than we did on the property, but yet we still won because of our relationship with the broker.
They don't want to deal with him, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then, coming forward to now, we've got your little book in front of us here. You became an author. You've done a couple different versions of this. Talk a little bit about taking on that task and how difficult or not difficult it is to produce something like that.
So I've actually written 3 books now. The first 2 are strictly ebooks. Something my mentor said that I should do for credibility. So I wrote basically an ebook on the process of buying multifamily, what I do as a company. Give that one away for free. And then the second one I wrote on how to identify a sponsor that you want to invest with. So what are those questions you should ask them? How should you do your homework on them? Where you should look to find one? All that kind of stuff, which ultimately, if somebody comes to me, I hope they're asking me these questions.
Right.
And again, that's another one I give away. Finally, I got to the point where I'm like, I want to do something where I'm really helping other people. Not that I want to make a ton of money off of it. I make a couple bucks on these. I'm not getting rich off of it, right? But I kept seeing people kept asking, where do you get started? How do you get started? What's that process like? So I literally sat down and I wrote the exact process I took from 0 experience in multifamily to buying 158 units, $15 million worth. Every single thing that I did, what I would say to brokers, how I would approach things. So it's not just a high-level view of multifamily. It's actionable step-by-steps that you can actually take to go from nothing to buying multifamily. As far as writing them, I mean, each of them probably took me about 3 months to sit down and work through the process and figure it out. And then this one was actually only an ebook to start out with, and then I had someone help me, really turn it into a full book.
Did you use any AI or anything like that?
Nope, this is all written 100% by me.
Okay. Yeah, I cheated a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote everything myself, but then instead of hiring an editor that's going to go and change everything around, I ran it through.
Okay, I actually had my mother-in-law help me. She worked for the state. That's what she did. She edited, documents for judges and stuff in court and stuff. So, I sent it over to her. She tweaked it and gave me some, insight on, hey, work on this or word this differently. So it was cool. I could just go in and make the little changes. She took a look at it. So I actually, thanked her in the book for all that help. Nice. So saved me a lot of money too.
Yeah, it's funny. My dad writes books or helps people write books for a living. And part of what he does is he tutors people to be Amazon bestsellers and all stuff. And I fought him for 12 months. Nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And when we got all done, he was like, well, you have to write a professional summary, blah, blah, blah. He's like, just give me 2 sentences on what your book's about. And I sent him an email. And literally 40 seconds later, he responded back to me with 4 nice paragraphs of stuff that looked like the most professional. He's like, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you all along. If you just would have put your sentences in there, the AI will take your words and create something really. So I had the AI edit everything and just make sure my grammar was correct.
Yeah, no, I get it. I cheat a little bit in my Facebook posts. All my hooks are ChatGPT or whatever it's called.
Nice. So are you gonna write more books? Is that something that you think is a future endeavor for you, or you're kind of good with what you have right now?
No, I mean, I always leave that open. I've enjoyed writing all 3 of them at this point. It is a daunting task to think about doing something bigger because every time I write one, I want it to be better than the last one. Mm-hmm. So this one took a lot of work to think about writing, maybe a 300 or 400 page book. It'd probably take me a year.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point I'll sit down and want to just put it all out on paper out there. But for now, I realized people don't want to sit down and read a 300 page, 400 page book. They want to take things in bite-sized pieces. So I try to keep things very simple, and not get into the weeds too deep, but still be able to give you that information so that you could take something and actually move forward with that information. Is that an audio book or is it strictly audio? No, it's just print, yeah.
Okay, nice. That's my next second project is to do the book that I wrote as an audio book, because so many people ask about it, and
always.
I don't really honestly read a ton of paper books. If I'm doing 75 hard and it's a part of it and you have to do it, I'll do it. But if I'm trying to absorb information, most times I'll do audio book.
Are you going to read it yourself, or you're going to get somebody else to do it?
So I have 4 people that I'm working with that have committed to me to do it, kind of like David Goggins. Did you ever read the David Goggins?
I've read some of his books, yeah.
On his audiobook, he has someone read the chapter, and then they discuss the chapter afterwards and ask questions, and gives a one-on-one interview type of thing. So it's a little more bang for your buck for the audiobook. So each one of the 4 people that I have are going to read 3 chapters, and then at the end we'll do our talking about what happened in the chapter or whatever, to make it a little more different for someone rather than just a regular old audiobook.
I got you. Yeah, Tim Grover does that in Winning. I don't know if you ever...
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I like that, and I think it makes the end user feel a little bit more associated with the process rather than just reading the stuff. If you can hear a conversation or get some questions behind it, I think it makes it better. So it's a little easier to ask for. Are you working on any projects right now? Not specifics that you want to talk about, but are you in the middle of a project, or are you looking more to mentor and grow your network with other people that are looking to do this as a business?
Yeah, so I actually just launched a coaching program recently. That's been my main focus for the last 2 months, trying to get that going.
Okay.
That's been fun. I really enjoy working with people in this business. But then I'm also working on, so I found, my first 2 deals online, LoopNet. Mm-hmm. I still work with brokers, but deals just don't seem to pencil out right now. They don't make a whole lot of sense. So my goal for this year is to try to go direct to seller on some smaller properties.
Okay.
Maybe get some creative financing. If not, I have, about 1.2 million lined up with investors that we could put into a deal. Trying to find a way that I can cut out 30 other offers and get into something at the right price where it's cash flowing immediately. We're making good money, so that's something I'm working on along with the coaching right now.
Nice. If someone is watching this and they're like, "Hey, I'd love to get in touch with you," how would they get in touch with you? What would they do? What are the process they would take to reach out to you and talk to you about your coaching program or your book?
Yeah, I mean, they could just reach out to me either on Facebook or LinkedIn, just Brad Hreha, Hreha. You can email me at hrehainvestments@gmail.com. Or they can just call me. I mean, my phone number is in the book.
In the book.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice. That's great. All right. Your final question is going to be a personal question. I'm going with sports because I know you played Division I baseball. So you can go back in time whenever it would be. You can witness one sporting event that happened and you can bring one person with you. What's the event that you want to see and who do you want to bring with you to watch it live?
Wow. Man, one sporting event? Oof, jeez.
You can go watch Babe Ruth call the shot. You can see the 80 Phillies. You're not a Phillies fan, right? I know you're.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am. I'm a Phillies fan. I'm not a.
You can't be a Phillies fan if you're a 49ers fan. But we're not really.
Well, I mean, we can just not be fans at all. I'm sure, but man, that is never even considered anything along those lines. Wow.
It doesn't have to be baseball. It could be football. It could be.
I'm trying to. I guess you know what? If I can go back and be at the sporting event, 96 NBA Finals, Jordan's last shot.
Okay. And who are you taking with you? Which person are you going to grace to come and enjoy it with you?
I guess my wife. I don't know who else I would take.
Yeah, your wife.
Maybe my daughter Brielle, but my oldest isn't too big into sports, although she likes going. But
yeah,
either one of them.
The wife. All right, awesome. Brad, thank you so much for coming by.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.